Welcome to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society, whose mission is creating unity through music. But as I also like to say, making connections through music with the intention of bringing peace. And I am here in Studio One at the worldwide headquarters of Planetary Gig Society, and connected remotely, we have a very, very special guest, because couldn't do this without her. Paula Bellenoit with Human Factor, who produces all these podcasts that you're listening to. I'm so glad that you've been able to take the time and talk with me today, Paula. Thank you.
Sure, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
So we do have our history with these podcasts, and we've worked together quite a bit on them, and I really couldn't do this at all without you and Blake Althen and what you do to produce the podcast, and you do a great job, and I know you do a lot of work for other associations and other podcasts, so shout out on that. But
thank you.
You know, we did have some conversations about music, and you talked about the fact that you have music in your background, and I said, well, gosh, I should talk with you. You know, we should have a conversation for the podcast. So, do you mind just sort of talking about what was music like, you know, growing up for you? Did you start out with music? Did you play? Did your parents play? Did you play instruments? If you were playing or you not playing, what's your kind of your trajectory in terms of music?
Yeah, I do have quite a musical background from family life, early family life. Both of my parents play. My dad plays sax. My mom sings and plays piano.
Nice. And
my dad's mom was one of the silent movie piano players.
Wow.
So I wish I had gotten to see her do that. I've never gotten to see her do that, but
it had to be good for that, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I when I heard that, I was so impressed.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, by the time, I came into the picture, she was already in a nursing home, and she was with it enough to visit, but I never got to hear her play ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite the technology has certainly changed from, black and white flashing pictures with piano to add the sound.
Yep.
We've come a long way. So did you play? How did you get?
Yes, I did. All right. So I was 6 years old when I started taking piano lessons.
Wow.
And I remember just being so excited to get started. I remember the piano teacher lived across the street.
That's nice.
She was fantastic. She was so great. And she came over to our house one Monday night and talked to my mom. I guess my mom had asked her about it. I had no idea this was going on in the background, but the piano teacher comes to my house and they have a conversation about me starting lessons. And I was like, cool. And they wanted to start, I was going to have my lessons on Tuesday afternoons. And it was Monday. And they told me, well, we're going to start next Tuesday. And I said, why do I have to wait a whole week? I want to start tomorrow. And so I got my lessons pushed up by a week.
Nice. Well, so you were excited about playing. You really wanted to play as a 6-year-old.
I guess I did.
Well,
I was,
and that was because
I don't remember why exactly.
Just because your parents were playing.
My parents played. We had a piano in the house. It was just something interesting to do. And I remember kids at school not believing me.
They didn't believe you had a piano? You're going to get lessons.
Yeah, I guess they didn't believe that I took lessons or could play anything. Or I remember having arguments at the bus stop about that.
Well, do you remember what you played? Were you playing just sort of standard piano teacher tunes out of the book, I guess?
Yeah, so, to start, it was always the standard, it was a hot cross buns. That's the first one everyone learns, right?
Right.
1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. And I remember my teacher, teaching me, how to recognize the notes, and using all kinds of words, like G was for garbage. I remember that one made me laugh as a 6-year-old. Mm-hmm. But things like that. But my piano teacher was big into musicals. So as I progressed beyond beginner level, I always had like the lesson always had, we had an exercise book. We had the lesson book, which was like whatever, what's the name of it was this, like the standard, whatever the standard Schwartz or some, I can't remember the name. Right. The standard. So we had the exercise book, the lesson book, and then usually like I was learning a piece for the recital, and also always some musical tune. And as I got older and more interested in popular music, there was always a pop music included in my lesson. So
yeah, those recitals, I took lessons for 1 semester in 4th grade. We had a piano. My mom played, but not much. And the recital, I was playing some song about a swing, swinging. And I just kind of wasn't really into it. And my mom asked if I wanted to play anymore, and I said, no, I don't need to do that next time.
Yeah.
And that was it. My whole career could have changed if I'd have just said, sure, I'll give it a try.
If you had a piano teacher giving you music you liked.
Right. That makes a difference.
Yeah.
So how long did you take lessons, and what were some of the musicals you remember playing? I mean, like Sound of Music or...
Yeah, did some Sound of Music. I'm sure I did Sound of Music. My first piano recital piece was Born Free. Can't remember what musical that's from or movie or something.
Well, Born Free was a movie. At the Lions. Born free.
That's the one.
Free as the wind blows. Or whatever.
That was my first piano recital tune.
Well, that's
the recitals, my teacher was so into it. She had a lot of students, and so she made a big deal about the recitals. We wore like full-on gauns. The boys wore tuxedos.
Whew.
Yes.
And what grade is this still?
Had a different theme. It was
6 years old still.
School. I think I was 8 years old for my first recital.
Wow.
But her students, were all ages. They were probably up to 20-ish years old, and. Yeah. And she went all out. Every year had a theme. Like one year was Chinese, and she would make stuff for us. We had we had this beaded thing. All the girls wore a beaded thing, and we all had fans. And there were flowers, like it was everything.
She did make a big deal about it.
She was into it. And the year that was Oriental themed, she, also was like interested in like getting us interested in other instruments and things like this. And so she I guess knew a person who knew how to make the necks for dulcimers. And we, she had this workshop where a bunch of her students came in, and we had a real wooden neck with the 3 strings, I think. Maybe it was only 1 string. I can't remember how we did it, but and we attached it to like cardboard dulcimer bodies, and we learned how to play some dulcimer tunes, and we had a little dulcimer orchestra during that recital. So it was really neat. It was we had So I don't know would I have stayed with it if it wasn't for her, but she was an amazing teacher. So she made us want to keep going.
How many years did you take lessons with her?
I took lessons. I took lessons with her from 6 years old till at least 10 years. But when we were 15 years, when I was 15, we moved to a different state.
Oh.
It was like a couple hours away, and we still tried to do lessons like once a month. We would drive down to Connecticut.
Ooh,
and have our lessons, but that didn't last much more than a year, I don't think. So it was about exactly 10 years that I took lessons. And then I was in high school, and I did, high school jazz band. And I had a teacher who went to Berkeley, so he was big into jazz. He was an upright bass player.
Mm-hmm. So you continued on through high school.
I continued on through high school and learned how to improvise, and somehow I got invited. I think it was my high school music teacher who recommended me to a local wedding band that was looking for a piano player. So I was like 15 or 16 years old, and I was in a wedding band.
Wow. Well, that's pretty good. I mean, you were reading music, you were playing a lot of different songs. I mean, you must have been able to play pretty well, and you must have enjoyed it too.
Yes. Yeah. I was, I was pretty good for my age, whatever, I think. And towards the end of my high school, I also got a job at a church. I was a church organist for a tiny little church with a choir of 8 people, and so
that's pretty cool.
Church music for a little while.
See, I'm really, jealous by people who did play when they were young, because it's easier than trying to learn to read music when you're 65.
Yeah. Yes. Learning a language young is so hard now, but yeah.
And it's so great. There's so many positive things about it. And, they say children who played music also do better in school. And I mean, there's a lot of other things like that. So did you, now I'm anxious about the story. I mean, where did you go with it? Did you join rock bands? Did you keep going?
Yes.
I mean,
So I was into the church music scene for a while, and I even went for a summer program at Westminster Choir College in Princeton, and so I learned how to conduct choirs with the Westminster technique, I guess. I moved again. And so I moved away from the church I was the music director at, and so after that I didn't work in church music anymore. But I still played. I was learning how to play the djembe, West African hand drum. That was super fun. I don't know. I saw someone playing it, and I just was so moved by the performance that I went up to the teacher at the end of the performance. I was like, I want to learn how to do what you do. And she was like, wow, okay.
Well, that's cool. Well,
I asked her if I could be her apprentice. She had no idea what to do with that, but
that's very cool, though. I mean, I don't think that there are, coincidences and people you happen to see, or this or that introduction to this person, that instrument. I mean, I think there's kind of reasons for that, or at least things can definitely come out of those types of situations.
I think, because I think with music too, it's a language barrier kind of a thing. So you can play music with people who can't speak the same language as you, but you can speak the language of music and still play together. And being in music also takes you to places you might not have gone. You go to concerts you might not have gone to, participate in things. I also, I'm trying to think back to the whole thing. I was dating a guy who was into swing dancing, and he got me into swing dancing. He was the one who took me to that concert with the drummer, the djembe. And if it wasn't for him and that connection, I would never have started swing dancing. And swing dancing is significant because that's how I met Blake.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Yep. So that's how the two of us met. We were in the same swing dance class together, learning a really goofy looking move. And the teachers were usually they rotate the couples in this. So like the leaders will rotate around. So you paired up with somebody different every few minutes. But they were, into the lesson at that point, and Blake and I were paired up doing this super goofy move, and they forgot to rotate for a long time.
Stuck with Blake for a while.
You're stuck together for a while, and through just having to be so goofy together, we hit it off, and became friends and learned that each other played music. And he at the time was looking for someone to be his bandmate. And so I got invited to his house to jam session. And we jammed. I did not know I was being interviewed for the band at the time. But
how long ago was this? Because did we miss a part of when you were, in other bands after school? I mean.
So back in high school, I joined that wedding band.
Right.
And I was probably 15 or 16, and I did that for a few years, and that band morphed a few times. So there were like 2 or 3 versions of the wedding band, general business band. And then I moved down to the DC area, and I wasn't in bands anymore, and I wasn't doing church music anymore.
So you sort of stopped music about that point? And how old were you then? Your mid-20s or something?
So I was mid-20s then. And I didn't stop music. I didn't stop music then. That was when I was learning to play the djembe and doing events like the Village Tree, where we would all get together and have a big drum circle and do all kinds of movement and vocal exercises. And around that time, I was also learning how to swing dance. And I met Blake, and he wanted me to be in his band. Mm-hmm. So the two of us had a duo, a rock duo.
Wow.
And we made an album.
Did you?
We wrote songs, made an album, made a few albums, and just life progresses, and the band morphed into a production company. We had other musical artists asking us, because we recorded ourselves and produced our own records, and other bands heard them, wanted to work with us, and so we started producing music.
Production company. Yeah.
We became a production company, and realized we couldn't make a living doing that because our customer base was musicians, and they are not known for being able to pay music producers.
Right. Yeah.
So it was hard to make a living. So we looked other ways of with our skill set, how to make a living, and we got into film and television music. And we did that for a while. So I'm sort of still involved in that, not making the music, but I curate a catalog of television music, and it's still being used in TV shows. Discovery Network uses a lot of it. I don't actively do that anymore because music business is just very hard.
Yeah. Well, what's impressive is that you had really wide range of musical background with the church and with jazz band and swing dance and all these things.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, it's great. It's really great. And so, you're not completely active playing in bands and things right now. You're kind of more on the production side. But how would you say what impact did that have on your life? I mean, do you think you're a different person? What have you seen in terms of the impact of music on other people, the people you've been playing music? I mean, you were director of music in a church. I mean, what is it? Why do people do that? What is that about? And how is it? What's your perspective on that?
I loved doing the church music. And it was it to me at the time, it was challenging because I always wanted to do new songs, and I wanted to try to do choir pieces that were a little more challenging. And I was young. I was like 19, 20 years old, and directing a choir of people middle-aged to seniors.
That's very cool.
And so it was a little hard to know how to be a leader in that way. And so I felt like I was pulling teeth a lot trying to do some new material, but I loved it, and I had the support of the pastor, and to me it felt like I loved music all my life, but the church music was an added like music for a purpose kind of a thing. So that was very appealing to me until, life happened and I didn't end up doing that anymore.
But certainly people have been, the people in the church choir and the swing dancing people, they all got something out of music. I mean, what is it they get out of music? Why do they do it? Why do people do this?
Music is, it can affect your emotions. That was one of the things that I was really looking into actually as I was doing the television music catalog, because you have to be able to tag the songs like so that they can be found in a database. And one of the things television needs to be able to search music by emotion, by mood. And so, I'd study, different ways to describe music, how to determine what mood the music was going for. And so, yeah, it really does. I mean, like when you play a movie or a television show with music, you'll have one impact. You play the same scene with no music under it, completely different. It adds music. Music adds meaning. It adds emotion, and it adds context. A picture of the ocean with dun dun dun.
Gets scary, right?
All of a sudden. That's all of a sudden a picture of the ocean. Scary, but a picture of the ocean with, calming, new age music, totally different. Same picture, different music, different mood, different impact of the visual image.
And I guess people in church singing, emotion, thank goodness we're here. It's Sunday. We're all together. I'm not at work, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm a sinner, whatever.
Praise. Yes. Yeah. You could. Yeah. I guess you could do. I loved the praise and the worship songs, the songs that like made me soar.
Yeah.
To sing them and to feel, the vibration of the voice in my body, that always had an effect on me. I think singing especially, it's something everyone on the planet can do. And I guess maybe accepting some handicaps maybe aren't able to sing, but everyone can feel the music.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So it's pretty powerful stuff. I mean, in so many different ways. Do you have thoughts about, society and what society could do a little bit better in terms of more music? Would it make a difference if, the more kids had the same kind of opportunities you did to play music like that and, become leaders at a young age and
right.
And all those things? Did you ever think about that?
I never really did think about that, but I am thinking about it now. And that's interesting because I did have leadership experience at a very young age that I would not have had it not been for music. And I can imagine definitely music is something to do as well. Like, how are you going to spend your time after school as a kid? If you're playing music, you're not getting yourself into trouble. You're just having something else to do, and it's something that you could be really interested in. And it's a way to be cool. Like so many musicians talk about, I started learning how to play guitar because I wanted to get girls or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what you were just saying about music gives you something to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really could apply at almost any age.
At any age. Any age.
I hadn't thought about that. I mean, that's, you can watch TV all the time, or you can, drink all the time, or you can go to bars, or you can do a lot of things. But music is something that you actually do.
It is. And the impact of music, even like on the elderly, or dementia patients who can't, I have some experience with it because my mom passed just earlier this year. Last year now, from terminal dementia, and it attacks the brain, and so it's such a terrible disease that you have, like you still have the stuff in you, you just can't access it.
Mm-hmm.
And music has been known to, when a dementia patient hears music that they know from their life, it helps bring lucidity. Like a lot of times they'll have lucid moments because of the music.
Did your mom respond to music toward the end?
She did. My mom, she was so into music.
Even with the dementia?
Even with the, earlier stages. When it gets to late stages, there's...
It's a little hard.
Yeah. But definitely, I just remember it's a time going to visit her at the home, and there was, they had a karaoke person there. And my mom was just so into it. She was up on the microphone and singing along and dancing, and when otherwise she may have just been, very non-responsive.
Right. Well, it's a powerful thing, and I think you've times with music that have made a difference in your life, and I really appreciate your sharing them with us.
Sure.
It's good to talk with you, so we work together, but it's always good to talk with people about music. I appreciate what you've shared. I don't know if you have anything else you want to leave the big listenership of Planetary Gig Talk with, but I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you. It was very enjoyable to talk about music, and I don't know that I have any parting thoughts. Play more music, listen to more music. I don't know.
Well, that's good. What else you need?
Right?
Yeah, that's right. All right, Paula. Well, thanks very much for taking the time. Really appreciate all that you do. If anybody's thinking of doing podcasts, you know who to call.
That's right.
Paula Bellenoit can help you out with Human Factors.
Very good. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
You've been listening to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society. We talk with musicians and others about the power of music and how we can use music to help create a better world. Please check out our website, www.planetarygigs.org, for information about some of the organizations promoting music and musicians, resources about the power of music, books, movies, articles, including new research on music and the brain. We welcome your support. The Planetary Gig Society is a Section 501c3 charitable organization, and you can donate on the website. You also can receive a free email signature block demonstrating your support for Planetary Gig Society. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Planetary Gigs. And we want to thank fabulous musician and teacher Eric Weinberg of Little Eric Studios for the Planetary Gig Talk music titled Chill Kid, It's Saul. So please check out Planetary Gig Talk on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Subscribe and hear all the upcoming episodes. Thanks very much.